Hey guys, and welcome back to Jalen Says. And today we're with Mr. Kirkland Hodges, um, the owner of Homeland Village, just an incredible, authentic African shop, just doing a lot of things with community, and he does a lot himself. So, can you do a quick introduction of
Well,
who he
as you
is?
say, my name is Kirkland Hodges. I'm from Macon, Georgia, and was born and raised here, and spent quite a bit of my time in Macon. But I did go into the military for a few years, and I spent time in New York City. My dad lived in New York when I was a kid, so I was most summers I was spending in New York. But I actually lived in Atlanta too after I got out of the military and lived up there for about 5 years, and then I decided to come back to Macon.
Back home?
Yep, back home. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So, what called you to go into the military?
Well, coming up in Macon, there wasn't a lot of options. I wasn't prepared to go to college, so I saw military as a way to kind of get out. The Navy was promising that you could see the world, and that was my ambition.
Hmm.
And so I chose the Navy and just went in and gave it a shot.
How long were you in?
2 years. Mhm. I was actually I went to Vietnam and I was on an aircraft carrier, so we was mostly on the coastline of Vietnam. But we spent about 6 months, 6 7 months in Vietnam, and I operated what was called arresting gear on an aircraft carrier, which used to catch the planes, the jet planes when they come in for landing.
Okay.
There was a cable that went across the flight deck, and it was set hydraulically. And I used to operate the machine that set the weight for the plane, and that was my job.
Wow. Thank you for your service.
Thank
Yeah. So,
you.
what did you like most about going to New York besides, where your dad was?
Well, New York was a very, very exciting place. It was overwhelming actually. But as a kid,
It was a
I,
big city.
mm,
It was just a really big
oh yeah,
city.
big city. I mean, you get confined to your area where you live, and you meet, your friends. I had quite a few friends up there. My nickname was Country because I grew up there every summer. But I had met some friends and young kids, my same age, they were my age bracket at least. And so I was exposed to, my dad took me to some nice places up there, some museums, publishing company. Well, he actually worked at a publishing company, so I went there, and we went to Coney Island, places like that. But yeah, it was pretty exciting. When he was in at work, I was in like a camp. It was summertime, so we'd go to camp, and then they would take us a lot of places. We go swimming, we go to ball games, and all kind of fun events.
Nice. So,
Mhm.
did you have an interest in publishing since your dad was a publisher, or anything like
Uh,
books or novels?
Not directly. My thing, I was slow in deciding on what I really wanted to do in life. I, like I said, I went into the Navy, so that once I got out, I was eligible to go to college, and I chose junior college here in Macon, and went out to it was called Macon Junior College at the time. It's now called Middle Georgia State University, and so I was taking business, as my major, and during the time I was there, Geico, the insurance company here, making they was recruiting out there, so they recruited me to come to work for them. So I started working for Geico for a couple of years, and developed a little interest in that because it was dealing with I guess what you call corporate, you know. So I thought I could climb the corporate ladder. So and I goes out there and work, worked for a couple of years, but I really wasn't that happy out there.
Mm.
Doing same mundane things every day. So I
Well,
decided to leave.
what were you doing?
I was customer service, getting cursed out and and
Getting
still
cursed out for things that are your fault.
I have no control over, and still have to help the people and stuff like that. So, but it paid the bills, and but it did kind of lead me in that direction of insurance. So I decided to go and apply for my insurance license. If I wanted to be a agent, a full fledged agent. So once I did accomplish that, then I moved up to Atlanta. I decided to move up there because I thought the opportunities would be better there, and they were when I moved there. I worked with some agencies up there, and the money, the pay was better, and and I kind of liked Atlanta at the time. A lot more going on, a lot of culture and stuff, and I got introduced to a lot of things that probably would not have if I was here in Macon. So
As,
yeah,
as an agent, were you like basically up close with the people with the scenes that happened and stuff like that?
with what now? So
Like with insurance claims, were you like
mm.
up close, like
Well,
personal to
I basically worked in an office. People used to come in and get in. I would sign them up for. We did life insurance, we did auto insurance, home insurance, all those things. So people would come in. During that time, this was the late 70s. So I had an office downtown, had a secretary and stuff. And people would come in, and I would sit them down, and discuss, information about the coverage and things like that. So, mm.
So, what did you gain most from that job?
Well, I really found out that wasn't my calling. It was a decent job that I could have stayed with, but I didn't see myself advancing in the way that I wanted to. So, and to be honest with you, I kind of got more in touch with a lot of my culture and stuff like that. Being in Atlanta, I started going to places where I could, connect with people who were more dealing on that realm. So I actually met some people. I was staying with my cousin when I first got up there. They had moved down from New York, and they moved to Macon for about a year, but. My cousin's husband, who was from Trinidad,
Mm-hmm.
he had gotten a job with Jordan Power, so they had to move up up in that area, up in the Atlanta area. So when they moved up there, that was like a opportunity for me to, move up there. They had a place, and they allowed me to stay with them, till I can get on my feet. So I say about 3 or 4 months, I was with them, and during that process, I um I was just kind of, we always just lounging around the house one day, and he had his little album collection. Back then they were vinyl. It was vinyl, so he had it's like LPs and things like that. So I was just sitting on the floor, going through his collection, and I actually noticed this album that had this guy who had all these dreadlocks,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and not familiar with, dreadlocks at the time, it kind of intrigued me.
Mm-hmm.
So I, just inquired about him, and he told me, he kind of schooled me on who it was. It was Bob Marley,
Mm-hmm.
and the album cover was Kaya, and so I was, really fascinated with, with that, and started listening to the music, and the music actually really just kind of captivated me to a point where I really wanted to learn more and more and more about that ideology, or that philosophy and all the things that they were doing. And so I started studying that, and then I started meeting people who were also, in that same realm. A lot of people in Atlanta at that time had dreadlocks and stuff, and they were practicing the Rastafarian, culture of spirituality. And so I connected with them, and just kind of kept started learning things about, um, the culture and stuff, and it just really kept me fascinated, kept me eager to learn more and more about it. So I just stayed with that, and I being, setting that type of lifestyle. That's what I like to call it because I don't see it as like a religion. It's more of a lifestyle, and it just introduced me to so many things about our health, about our history, and and about our basically about our the wealth that we had, that we contributed to the society, and it goes back to Ethiopia, and that's where a lot of the teachings formulated and stuff like that, and it transformed all the way over to the Caribbean, the states, and it's actually worldwide. As small as it's, a lot of people don't inquire about it because they don't like to get past the hairstyle, which now you see more and more people wearing dreads than ever, but they don't mean they're affiliated with
Culture.
with the culture. So, a lot of people just doing it now for more of a fad or, just to be natural. So, which is fine, but I was doing it for the reason of being,
Cultural.
yeah. hmm yeah. So that, I met some people up there and, we started having, session, learning sessions. I got into a little drum circle where we would meet and do Naya Bengi drumming and stuff like that. And I just really just dove in here first, trying to, because I just felt so connected to it.
So, was that the reason you wanted to make Homeland Village, or was there something else that really
Well, yeah,
got you
yeah,
into it?
so this was happening when I was in, like I said, Atlanta. That was in the late '70s. Okay, I moved back to Macon in 1981. And my reason for moving back to Macon, one of my main reason was the fact that my grandmother had taken ill and she wasn't doing well, and I was very, very close to her. So I wanted to be
With her?
home. Yeah, I wanted to be home with her, and of course I came on back and spent time with her, and then shortly after, she transitioned, and when I moved back, I had locks. I had decided,
Yeah.
to cut my hair, and I had a cousin that was doing construction work. So, and I kind of grew up doing construction, but it wasn't a big interest at that time because it was just labor, So I was just doing it for money. But then my cousin had started his own little company and doing a lot of home improvements and maybe a little small additions and things like that. So he asked me to come back and help him with that. So I did. We kind of teamed up and started doing work around here, and that was a means for me to wear my hair the way I wanted to,
Yeah.
because in construction, they don't really care.
Yeah.
So I started wearing, I had my locks and I didn't want to cut them, um, so I started working with him, and it worked out for maybe about 2 or 3 years working with him, and then we kind of parted ways, and I went to start working for other companies. I worked for some of the major companies here, making some big companies, and I did that for a few years, and I started thinking. I said, basically, I realized that I didn't want to do work for them, the rest, for that much long of a period. So I started preparing myself, to kind of venture out and do it on my own. So I started um, buying me tools, tools that required for me to do the work and stuff like that. So I got my tools up. I had a truck, and I started. Initially, I started out just doing side jobs. I still had my main job, but I would do side jobs and stuff like that. And then it built up. It kept building up, and I actually got a big opportunity with my high school principal. His name was Dr. Robert Williams. He taught me. He was a principal when I was in junior high school. So he actually gave me my first big break, and he had a big project at his house where I did a major addition. I did remodeling over the whole house and stuff like that. And you know, and he was very pleased with the work. And his wife, she uh, she had just had knee surgery on both of her knees, so she was kind of confined to the chair most of the day. So we would show up every day, and she would, you know, put up with us, you know, going through her house and, you know, doing all these transformations on the house and stuff. But she was very pleasant lady, very pleasant. So she just started bragging on, you know, the work that we was
Yeah.
doing, you know, and the professionalism and stuff like that. And she was telling all her friends, you know, and when you being an educator, you know other educators, and
Yeah.
you know, so she became my my
Promotion, like promoter.
yeah, she started promoting me. Yeah,
Yeah.
so she told all her friends about, you know, me, and I started getting work, you know, from other people, and they had a lot of houses, you know, that they were renting out. They had rental properties, so I was working on their main house that they lived in, and actually they owned this whole block. You know, he had a sister that lived across the street in the home house, but he had built his house, you know, right across the street. Their church was on the same street, you know, actually in the same block. So this man actually lived 84 years in the same block.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually I saw a picture. He and Martin Luther King went to school together. They went to Morehouse together. That was the school. That was the college he went to. So, and I saw pictures of him and Dr. King, you know, in his house and stuff. So very, you know, just a good, wholesome man, you know, who just, you know, always involved in the community, always doing things, you know, to try to make a difference in the community and stuff. And I was inspired by him. You know, I just like what I saw him. He knew my dad, and so you know we had those things in common and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow. So, how long were you doing construction work and remodeling after then?
Well, this I started. Okay, I started doing construction around 82, well 81. You know, when I moved back from Atlanta, I started doing construction with my cousin, and it just continued from that on. So I would say well over 40 years now. You know,
Wow.
yeah, it's been okay, yeah, since 1981. I say I started doing it earlier, but I wasn't counting that because I was just doing, you know, I was just doing this to have a job. You know,
Yeah.
so but I got primarily interested in it when I started working with him, and then I went back to school. I went to a technical school and got, you know, some more skills and got more credentials. You know, paperwork, you know, to I guess certify me as, you know, a carpenter, and then you know, and then going on jobs, doing jobs, and being around other guys doing um, different phases of construction. You know, some doing roofing, some doing sheetrock, painting, electrical, all those things. So being around that, you know, I became interested in the whole, you know, all of it. So, you know, and if you're gonna be a contractor, you have to know all the, you know, all the components of building. You know, so I was around these people all day, every day, and I'm asking questions, learning, you know, and kept honing my skills. You know, now, you know, I did sheetrock, do roofing, do plumbing, do tile work and stuff like that. So, you know,
Wow.
one thing just led to another. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now you, now you know it all.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's what kind of got me with this place here. I saw this building. It was an old building that needed a lot of work, but you know, me being in construction, you know, I knew I could, you know, could do the work. So I talked with the lady. I actually had a good friend who was a mutual friend. She knew him and I knew him. She this year she used to have a construction company here. So my friend, whose name is Reverend Duhard, Bartholomew Duhard, he stays not too far from here. You know what he, you know, he used to say there. And so I came and talked with her about the building and stuff, and she, you know, told me what she was asking for, and we worked out a deal. And she actually financed it, you know, because the place needed a lot of work. So, and she knew that me and Reverend Duhart could do the work, so she was glad that we could. take it on, and it took me. I bought this building in 1996, and I didn't have a lot of money. Didn't have to do. So I just kind of took my time. I didn't want to borrow a lot of money because I had to, pay her back for the building. So I didn't want to, keep borrowing money and stuff. So because that would make it more difficult for me to maintain the store once I got it going. So it took me just working out of my pocket. I would take extra material, like when I do jobs, just come out everything that was left over extra. I would come and put it in the store, and when we have slow times, slow periods, me and my guys would come in here and we do work, a lot of demolition, because this part here was a house, and I had to come in and reconstruct it to where it made it more of an open vibe and stuff. So I had a lot of little small closed rooms, so it was a little too claustrophobic for me. So I kind of opened it up, and that's it. And it's been an ongoing process ever since I opened. I opened up in 2001 in April. Uh, I wanted to recognize my niece's birthday, so I opened up on her birthday, which is April 21st. We had our little grand opening, and the mayor of the city at that time, who was our first black mayor, he was here. His wife was here. They all came out, and to our grand opening, and it was a big, nice occasion. And we kind of launched our little Homeland Village project. Mhm.
So how did you get all these things in the store?
Well, I started making connections. I knew people who were living here and making that was from Ghana, some from Nigeria, different areas like that. So I met this lady who was a designer, clothes designer. So I started looking at her line of clothes and stuff, and they were very, very nice, very high quality, very creative. And she and I started working out deals where I was getting clothes from her, and then I just made other connections. I was actually in D.C. I went to the Million Family March. They had the Million Man March, and then they had the Million Woman March, and then they had the Million Family March. So me and my family was in D.C. for the Million Family March, and I was just kind of walking around, looking at some of the vendors, some of the stuff, and I ran to this brother who was from Niger, Nigeria, and so I liked to, I was drawn to his table because he had a lot of nice pieces that I was interested in. So I got to talking, and and I told him where I lived, and asked him, did he travel, and stuff. So he said he did because he used to go to places like Miami, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Orlando, and places like that. So he was coming down 75, which is right here in Macon. So I told him where I was, and I asked him if he would be willing to stop in, and I'd like to buy some of his products. So that's where I got a lot of the artwork, a lot of the art pieces that you see here. And so I just kept making connections. I had a start this brother, this book distributor. So I met them. I connected with them, and started getting books from them, and and once you get things moving, other people start noticing, and then they start reaching out to you, trying to sell you their products. So it just wound up being like a, it just kept formulating to where people were calling me trying to, get me to buy their products or put their products in my store on consignment and stuff like that. So yeah.
So what really kept you going to your
Well, I tell you, that's a good one because when things started out, they didn't start out that great. It was very slow. And I didn't give up my day job. I kept my construction company going, so I was supplementing. I was taking money from my construction and putting it into business here. Because this was something. This was my passion. I saw what Macon really needed to be exposed to way more culture than what was available. So and I saw myself as the vehicle to produce that. Um, so I just basically kept sacrificing, kept the store going, you know, kept investing in, and stuff, and things eventually, picked up a little bit, and then a little bit. But it's even to this day, well, with the economy like it is now, it really, it's starting to slow up a bit. But I did have some good years where people started supporting. Well, another thing we did too, we introduced the people in the city to the celebration of Kwanzaa. We started having Kwanzaa ceremonies every year. Kwanzaa falls for a week, a day after, starts the day after Christmas and it goes through January 1st. So during that celebrating time, we will have events here and we will promote Kwanzaa and all of the principles. We stood strong on those principles, to try to get people to galvanize, and build something that was worthy of praise, worthy to get our youth involved, where we can teach them how to, get get introduced to their culture, because that's a big void. That's a big void all over this country. We kind of adapted somebody else's culture and just kind of left ours, by the wayside. So we want to get that back because we are very strong. We have more knowledge of who we are and what our purpose is, and having self determination. By defining ourselves and not letting other people do those things. You know, and our creative. You know, we're very very creative people. We do things different from how a lot of other people do, and we just got a rich history. Rich culture, and we need to. If nobody else knows, we need to teach our youth. I mean, I think everybody should know, but first and foremost, we need to teach our youth our culture because it's very rich, it's very important, and yeah.
Yeah. So well, let's pause for a second from Homeland Village and
Mhm.
some things like that. In the other part of the place, you also have a lot of tennis trophies up. So
Oh, you want to get on tennis?
yeah,
Yeah, tennis is a very one of I've always been sort of athletic coming up as a kid. We played baseball and I ran track. Uh, Tried a little football, but I wasn't cut out for that. I was a little too small for the football. So, but tennis was just something that kind of interests me when I was in college. And I was leaving campus one day, and I saw my cousin and this other guy over on the tennis court, running around the tennis court, hitting the ball. So I just stopped, because it was my cousin and I knew the other guy too. So I stopped and went over there and started, looking at them play. And it was just, it was intriguing to me. It was something that I said, wow, I like that. I think I can, get into that, and that was what sparked me into go out and get me another tennis racket, and go start trying to find somebody to play, and it was kind of hard at first, because when you don't know how to play, people who know how to play, unless you're gonna pay them, they teach you stuff like that. So I used to go and hit a wall, the wall, cause hit the wall, the ball come back, hit it again, So that's how I kind of got started, and kind of get my hand and eye coordination, because that's what tennis is about, so one of the fundamentals, is hand-eye coordination, and and putting yourself in a position, to hit the ball and things like that. So I did that, and for some time, and then I started going over to this tennis center, where a lot of the guys play and stuff, and um, I met this guy that. Um, we became friends and we started playing, and we both were kind of competitive. We were on the same level, so we just kept going at it. Learning what we could, from each other and things like that. And I never really taken an official tennis lesson, but I had some coaches. I did have a coach who had given me some pointers and stuff, but I didn't take no extended tennis lessons and stuff. So I just kind of learned on my own, and I had this a friend that was a little bit older than me who took an interest in me. And he and I started playing. We would meet up every Saturday morning and play, and and he was good. He was good, so I learned a lot from him. And it just kind of the opportunities started coming where they was having tournaments, throughout the city and stuff. And I started joining the tournaments after I thought I was good enough. And once I did, you got different levels. So I started out in the lower level and I worked my way up. I was beating the guys, I beating a lot of the guys on the lower level. So that pushed me on up to the top players. And I had to start playing them, and just continue to get better. And yeah, won a few trophies. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a great game, tennis. It teaches you so much about life, and it's a challenge, physical, mentally, all that. So I love it. I've been playing it. If I had the chance, I would play it every day. Yeah, that's just how much I care for it. Mm.
what was your most memorable tennis match you had?
Okay, this guy, the same one, the one I told you that kind of took me on his wings a little bit. And he was a professor over at Mercer University. So he and I worked together for a while. And actually we kept playing till I beat him. When I beat him, then he didn't want he didn't want to play with him. So what he did, I had signed up for this tournament, and he came over to watch me play. So I was playing this guy from North Carolina who was a student who was playing. He played no, not professional. He played college tennis, and um, I played him the first round. And this guy, the first set, he just blew me off the court. I mean, I ain't know who hit me. I was like, mesmerized by it,
The
and
skill.
yeah, but see, yeah, but it's play, I mean, but I kind of just adjusted my game, and the second set, we battled, and I held out, and I won the second set, and by the third set, I had worn him down. He was too tired, so I just blew the third set. I blew him off the court. So, and he, by him being there watching me play, it really did, inspire me. I I know I made him proud, because I beat a college player, who played tennis and stuff, and I knew who was considered pretty good. And I went on to win that tournament. So that was one of my most memorable
Game.
the games, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So you played the professor until you won.
I do what now?
You played the professor until you won.
Now I didn't play any professional. Now, I played college players, who have been coached you know, by college coaches and stuff like that. So they had you would think they had a edge on me because they've been taught all the basic fundamentals of tennis and stuff like strategy and stuff like that. And so I stood up against them and beat quite a few of them. Yeah. So it's a game that you never give up. You have to have a short memory in tennis because the guy hit a good shot. You just say good shot and move on to the next one. Because that you can't do nothing about that shot.
You can't just look at the shot.
Right, and don't dwell on what happened in the past. Just think positive about the future. Say I get the next point. Yeah.
What was your biggest comeback in tennis?
Biggest comeback in tennis. Oh, yeah. this guy I was playing, I was playing, and this guy had me 5-love in the third set, and I came all the way back and won. And that was in a tournament too. Yeah, yeah. He had me 5-love, I think, and yeah, I know it was 5-love, and like I just never quit. You know, I just kept fighting, and actually won that tournament.
Was his face surprised when you won?
Hmm?
Was his face really surprised when you won that one?
Yeah, yeah, it was. I mean, it took everything I had, but you know, you're not tired when you win. You don't when you lose. So like that loss just seems like it's just like the weight, a lot of weight on it. But when you win, you hype. You
Ready?
feel good. Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. No,
So you like tennis, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's a great game. Um, I I love teaching it myself. I would love to get because most people when they to get up to a certain level, they start playing when they're around about 8. You know, a lot of kids they go out and with their parents, when they're like 5 and 6, they can barely hold a racket, but they go out there, and just get introduced to it, have fun with it. But the formal training usually start when they're around 8, 9 years old, and then and tennis can help you build up real fast, because you're out in the sun, you sweating, you using all your muscles and everything. So it helps you to grow because it being in the sun, then it promotes a healthy appetite. You want to drink a lot of water. You want to do things that's going to help you, to
Get stronger.
yeah. So all those things kind of help with developing your game and stuff. And I love being in the sun. I mean, vitamin D is is one of the things I enjoy, soaking up. Yeah, so I'm a fan of the sun, so that's another reason I like tennis because I can get out there and get a good workout in about 2 or 3 hours. Good sweat and get hydrated. Stay hydrated and it's just a good. It's a good. It was another um, good way for me to meet people, on a professional level. Because at the tennis center, we would meet doctors, lawyers, uh, business people, people who had their own business and stuff. And you discuss what you do, and then when people ask you what you do, I tell them, well, I'm a contractor, I'm a builder, and they say, oh, I got this work I need done, so we would network and help each other, and it actually, in Macon, we had we anybody could go to the center, but most of black people went to the one that I went to. Now they had a big, nice one that was on the north side of town where most of the white people went. So and we would wind up playing one another. We would have set up matches and stuff, but we would go out there and play them, then they would play us and stuff like that. So, but it was a lot of connections made on the tennis court. Yeah, I met people. Still got friends that I met on the tennis court, and we still friends now. Yeah.
Any other sport click with you like that?
Any other what now?
Any other sport click with you like that?
No, not like tennis. Not like tennis. I mean, tennis just does it for me, because it's physical, but it's not a contact. It's not a contact sport, but it's very, very physical, and 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 it's a gentleman's sport. You have to shake hands when the match is over, and congratulate the person, or whatever, and you socialize, so we used to go on trips. We used to, my mother's church had this big luxury bus where we would rent the bus on the weekend. Like we traveled from we used to go to Atlanta, we went to Savannah, we went to Charleston, Columbia, Chattanooga, Jacksonville, and Tallahassee, and Augusta, and where else we went? Yeah, I think in Augusta. We would travel every year. We would travel to those cities and play those cities, and then they would come to Macon and play us. So the whole year, we back and forth, playing these teams, and that developed another, nice way of fellowshipping, fellowshipping with people in other states and stuff, So I found friends, and everywhere I went, Savannah was really nice. We used to love to go to Savannah and Charleston, you know, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, everywhere we went, we had fun, and we just enjoyed the game, and we would leave Macon like Saturday morning, and we would travel to say we would go to uh, Charleston. Then we would play the guys in Charleston. Afterwards, we go out and eat, and then we go to our hotel room, and we would stay the night, and then wake up the next morning and go to Columbia, and then we play Columbia that Sunday, and after we play them, we would go eat, and then we would drive back home. And if we went to Jacksonville, we would go to Jacksonville and play them that Saturday, and then we would stay in Jacksonville. Then we get up Sunday morning and go to Tallahassee and play them, and after that, then we would come back home. So it was like a whole weekend of just playing tennis here. Yeah. I got pictures, a lot of memories, a lot of pictures and stuff like that.
So you said you played baseball before. Did that help you with your tennis?
I think it did. Now, baseball, to be honest, baseball was my first love. I'm left-handed, so I was a pitcher. I thought I was pretty good because I actually pitched a shutout, where nobody could hit me. And I was a first baseman, So those were my two positions. When I wasn't pitching, then I played first base. And I played with, growing up, I know you may not know, but I actually played on the team that this guy named Norm Nixon, who is he played with the Lakers. They won a championship when he was playing. He was playing just before Magic Johnson started playing. You ever heard of Magic Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before Magic Johnson, Norm was the point guard, and so they won a championship. And Norm used to play on the same team with us. Matter of fact, Norm's brother, he had a brother named Ronald. It was three of them. We had an older brother named Kenny, then Ronald Nixon, and then Norm Nixon. And Norm Nixon is married to Debbie Allen, who is a famous dancer, and who is also the sister of Felicia Rashad, who played in the Cosbys. So I don't know if you know that or not, but and my sister and Norm's brother Ronald, they have a child together, who is my niece.
Was that the niece the same day the Homeland Village opened?
Yep, same one. Yep. Yeah, that's my little heart there. I've been raising her since she was a little bitty girl, and yeah, we're very close.
Does she play tennis? Does she play tennis?
No, she don't. No.
Yeah, so
I wish I could have got out there, but nah, she didn't take it up.
So why not? Why were you a hitter? Why were you just a pitcher?
Well, in baseball?
Yeah.
Oh, I love baseball. I batted second.
Mm-hmm.
I was second in the lineup, and I played first base. And when I wasn't pitching, I played first base. So I played all the time, and I was the first one at practice every day because I was just so happy, so easy to play. Huh?
Happy to be there.
Yeah, hyper. I heard hyper. Yeah, and I also I was one of the actually the only one because the field that we played what was it right field was close. The fence. I guess, long story short, I hit a home run one day, and I was the only one that I recall that ever hit a home run that hit the ball over the fence. And that was a very happy moment for me because all my teammates, when I crossed home plate, they was out there congratulating me and stuff like that. And when I swung the bat to hit the ball, it just felt so nice. It felt so sweet, And then I'm sitting there just watching the ball fly out, So yeah, it was a fun time. And we had a good team. We had a really strong team. We won some championships and local championships here. So yeah.
And you also played football for a little bit of time.
Yeah, football didn't last about a year. I played football for a year because what happened when I was in the eighth and ninth grade, I was in the band. I played trombone, and I love the band, but I've always been partial to sports. I always liked sports, so I wanted to play baseball, and so I wound up giving up the trombone to play baseball. So the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade was when I started, playing for the school. But we played coming up. We played sandlot ball, which every year in the summer, they had leagues, and we would join those leagues and play.
And you also play. I was in track as well.
You were now
We were in track as well.
track, yeah, track. I did hurdles. I ran the high hurdles. Yeah, yeah. I did that. I enjoyed that, but there's it was it's kind of tough, 'cause you out there running every day, all day. So but it helped develop my skills.
Isn't hurdles where you like jump over?
Yeah, you jump over. And so you have to practice a technique to where you can um, increase your speed without you have to do it in a rhythm. You have to do it in a rhythm, so it takes a lot of practice. So I did that, for 2 years when I was in school. Yeah.
Played a lot of sports.
Mhm. That was it. That was pretty much. I did track and I did baseball, and like I said, I did the 1 year football, but I didn't start. I just played, played a little bit. Cause see, I was small. I think, I probably one of the smaller guys on the team. So the other guy 200 pounds. Yeah, I'm 150 pounds. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I played football once, and I'm not the biggest guy. Even if I'm like a little taller, I'm still like under the weight,
Yeah,
like
your
the
frame. Yeah, your
yeah,
frame
the
is
smallest
small.
one.
Yeah,
But I'm fast though.
yeah.
Just when they hand me the ball, just run.
Till somebody hits you and knock you out. Huh?
Yeah, they can't hit me. I just run.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got fast and agile. Huh? You moving. You faking them out.
Yeah, juking.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there's so many times. Anytime I get the ball, there's just like he's gonna run for it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
So you pretty good at that.
I mean, I'm not with the throwing or like I'm good at catching sometimes, but not throwing.
So you a receiver?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Everybody had to play their position, so that's cool. Very good.
Any sports you wanted to try out? That
No, that was pretty much it. Then after that 1 year of football, I just kind of stuck to baseball. Baseball, like I said, I did like 2 years of track, and but baseball, I just fell in love with that. That became my mainstay of working.
cool.
Mhm.
So, what was your dream thing doing when you were younger?
My dreams, wow. Hmm. Well, just I didn't have no, I didn't go to college until when I got out, I had to go in the Navy, like I said, because I didn't have the money for college. My parents didn't couldn't afford me going to college and stuff, and so I just signed up for the Navy, and that inspired me. Once I started traveling, 'cause I was stationed out in San Francisco, also stationed in Seattle, Washington. So going to those cities, and just uh, learning that culture out there. This was back in the '60s, so there was a lot of turmoil going on. The Black Panther Party out there in Oakland. And Oakland was right across the bay from San Francisco, so we used to like to hang out in Oakland because that's where most of the black people were. San Francisco was, more, uh, mixed and stuff. So Oakland was more culture. That's where a lot of the culture was. So we used to catch the train, what they call BART, and Bay Area Rapid Transit. We should hang out in Oakland and over in Berkeley, over at the college, Berkeley College and stuff like that. So, uh, I learned a lot, just being out there, on my own. I had made friends, and we used to go hang out and just do wild, crazy things that young people do, when they out on their own. So, I learned a lot. I of course didn't do anything crazy, but you know, just enjoying life and learning.
So, what was it like traveling in the Navy?
In the Navy, it was exciting. After we left Vietnam, we came back and I wound up. We stayed in Hawaii for a little while. We was traveling. We was on the ship, but we would dock in Hawaii. We stayed there for about 2 or 3 weeks. And the ship be getting maintenance service, and stuff like that, refueling and stuff like that. So we'd be there for like 2 or 3 weeks, and we go out, and just see the town. Hawaii is a very beautiful state. The water, just the air, the scenery, is very clean, and so I just enjoyed, traveling and seeing new places, because probably wouldn't have got that opportunity if I hadn't gone into the Navy.
So, also over here you have a chess thing that you're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I actually been playing chess since the '80s, and I love the game. It's a great challenge, mentally, and it's one of my favorite pastimes. My three favorite things to do. Well, I mean, I have some other things, but I love reggae music. I love going to concerts and just playing the music and experiencing the culture of it. I like to shoot pool. I'm a pretty good pool shooter. I started doing that when I was like 14, 15 years old. I used to go downtown to the little pool hall and shoot pool, and got pretty good at that. And like tennis, of course, and then I like chess. So those four things are probably top on my list for enjoyment. Yeah.
So, why did you want to really bring it here? It's just something that you wanted to spread with the community, or
What I wanted to do it now?
like bring chess as a part of here?
Oh yeah, because I wanted to teach it to our youth, because it really it helps our youth in a manner where it teaches them how to think critically, and well, basically we had developed this motto where we in teaching our youth, we would always tell them to think before they move. So that became our motto as far as getting our youth how to get them interested in playing. In life, you have to think before you make a move, because if you don't think, you wind up making bad decisions or bad moves and stuff. So chess is relevant to that, and it's called the game of life. So, and it really is a lot of strategy involved. So it teaches you how to think critically, how to use both sides of your brain, offense and defense, simultaneously. So those things I like about it. And you know, it's a war, but it's not a physical war. It's a mental war.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So, what is your favorite move?
my favorite move
First
and
move.
my first move.
Hmm.
I don't really have, cause that, the first move is just opening up, cause it's a lot more game to be played out there. So it's always about being able to counter punch. Whatever you see your opponent doing, you have to be able to counter that, and then also uh, stay true to your strategy, and try to stay ahead. You have to come at them in all angles in order, because that's what they're doing to you. Come at them in all angles and see which one works the best. So the first move is important, because you want to protect the center of the board. And that's usually with I love my knights. I love my queen. I love all the pieces, but when I got my knight and my queens working together, I can do a lot of damage. Those two, because the knights, they go in so many different directions, and they, they can really close in on you pretty fast. So yeah. What's yours? What's your favorite piece?
I mean, my favorite piece, I do like the Knights, but
Yeah.
I'd say I do like the Bishop second.
Bishops are important, because they cut off all the angles, but they just kind of sit there and guard, and protect and stuff. So they are every piece on the board is necessary. It's relevant to where you can't take any of them for granted. You really have to use get the optimum use out of every piece on the board. Pawns included. But of course, the pawn, that you if you got to sacrifice something, you want it to be, a pawn. But the whole game, sometimes you have to sacrifice big pieces. If you got a strategy where you can sacrifice a big piece, but gain to get you checkmate, then you have to do it. Yeah. The main thing is to protect that king.
Yep.
Yep.
Once he's gone, it's game.
Yep. 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 That's right.
So
How about where are we?
yeah, but what is your real dream with Homeland Village? What is your dream to influence the community?
Well, Homeland, it's a labor of love. One thing, I love the idea of being able to teach people or introduce people to things that they probably would never even imagine. We have some of the best books, authors and stuff. Like Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Joseph Ben Joachim, uh, Anthony Browder, the list goes on. Amos Wilson, these are great scholars and historians and archaeologists who, from our perspective, who teaches us about our history and our culture, and by far, we have the richest history and culture of any other people on this earth. So that's undeniable, but a lot of us don't know about that. So being in a little town like Macon, we're not exposed to things like that. So I just wanted to change that. I wanted to be a venue, a resource center, and this is my passion. It's something that I just developed, and I love my people, and I love seeing them do well, and to get. Uh, I don't like to see people just not being constructive, not being productive, not being positive, things like that, because that's what gets you ahead, in life. Yeah, we all have to make sacrifices, it's just how it goes, but let it be to build something, to have something, and we have to be examples for our children. We have to lead them in the right direction and show them that they just as good as anybody else. And nobody should be looked down upon or feel like they're not worthy of of being a productive citizen. You know, and and dispel all the propaganda and the myth, that we of course lazy and things like that. 'Cause we built pyramids. Our legacy is still stand. Nobody else can even come close or say things like that, because what we built is still standing and it has such significant value. Those those hieroglyphics and things over there on those walls over there. They are very very relevant. They say a lot. So we just have to learn more about it so we can appreciate it. And then also pass that information on to other people.
So where can people find more about Homeland Village and where to find you?
Well, we do have a website. It's called homelandvillage.com. We have a Facebook page, Homeland Village Culture Center. And, we're here in Macon, Georgia, just a skip and a hop from Atlanta, you know, and Atlanta's so saturated with culture. But I have a lot of friends and a lot of people who get in their car and will drive down to Macon just to come to Homeland Village. I actually got a friend that on a regular basis I would say maybe 3 or 4 times a year. He lives in Jacksonville, and he would just get in his car and drive 4 hours to come to Homeland to spend the day at Homeland. Because he said he loved the energy that he gets when he come here. He loved the vibe. So I just tried to make it as homely as I could. As inviting and as as relevant. Because you know it has to be edifying. It has to be something that's going to make us better. And there's so many things out there that we don't know about ourselves. And I'm just trying to change as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on here.
You're welcome. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
You had some great questions. Yeah, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what you're gonna be coming to me with, but did a great job, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I want to get you back on that tennis court, man. Get you going on that because it's a game of a lifetime. I mean, and I can tell you like you just got to and nobody can pick it up. The first 2 or 3 times. It takes constant practice. A lot of repetition and stuff like that. But once you start developing the basic fundamentals of it, and it's a strategy. It's just like chess. But it's more physical and mental. So it takes both. You got to have endurance and you got to have the mental, ability, to outthink your opponent. So, yeah. Well, appreciate you having me.
Well, thank you for coming. And guys, stay tuned.
That's it.